Okay, hello. It is time for confessional number 3. I want to be a little bit quieter because it is kind of nighttime, and everybody's sleeping here, so I don't want to wake anybody up. So hopefully you can hear me. I apologize if you can't, because that would suck. Because this is probably going to be a long confessional, and I don't even know where I'm going to start, where I'm going to finish. There's been so much. I feel like if I made a confessional every round, I still would not be able to every day, I still would not be able to talk about everything that goes down. I have my laptop here for me, so if I'm looking back and forth, that's. So I guess starting out at the beginning of the week, I don't even know where to start. I've talked to almost everybody, and I feel like this is such a power, house of a cast. I'm like every day I'm overwhelmed, and it's so taxing, this game, but I love it, and obviously I'm putting everything, my 125% into it. It's interesting because there was a question about pacing last night at the tribal council, Big Brother eviction, whatever, and I wonder if I'm not pacing myself well, or if I'm pacing myself appropriately. But at the beginning of the round, I made a couple calls with some people. Everybody was really trying to figure out who that who Tyrant was. A lot of people believe that Jovina was going to be a person to win the Tyrant because she had a great score, but then Jen went last and ended up taking it while people weren't looking. I wasn't feeling the best that night, so I actually went to bed a little bit earlier, and I did post in the main chat that I was going to do so. I didn't want to not talk to anybody, and I didn't want to not have that opportunity to talk to the HOH, Tyrant Jen. But I wasn't feeling good, and I ended up throwing up 3 times that night. So obviously I needed the time to kind of rest and recover, and I woke up the next day feeling great. I was very appreciative because I woke up and I messaged Jen a little bit. I didn't want to bother her, and I didn't want to look super nervous or like distrusting that she wouldn't put me up without going on a call with her. So I didn't push it, and then she locked in noms, and I wasn't nominated. So I did reach out to her. I thanked her. And eventually we did get to go on call a little bit later in the round where she told me that she never thought about nominating me, even though I was one of the 3 people she didn't get to talk to as Tyrant on a one-on-one call. I think she said she realized that I wasn't feeling good, and I had said it before the Tyrant was announced. She didn't say this, but we also had a call before where we have talked game, and that's been one of her other things, that she wanted to nominate people who she hadn't talked game with. So I kind of had my bases covered, even though I didn't talk to her and make it look like there was any effort, but she knew I wasn't feeling well, and like I said, we did get to call later in the round, which I'll hopefully get to. But I saw that it was Chrissy and Billy, and I was kind of shocked. I don't really know what I expected with Jen, who I thought she would nominate. I guess this was a little surprising. I like it because I haven't been the biggest Billy fan since the beginning of the game, just because I don't feel like I vibe with him as well. And looking at Chrissy and Billy, I think Chrissy has a really good social game, and I think she's very likable, and people are drawn to her. And I don't think the same about Billy. So I knew if the nominations stayed the same, Chrissy and Billy, I think Billy would go at the end of the round, confidently. I could put money down on that. So I was also added to, I don't know if it was the last round. I don't even know if I talked about it in my last round confessional, if it was. But I was added to this 5-person chat with Dre, Chrissy, Merle, Rayanne, and myself, known as the Fab Five. And this was actually right before, it looks like we went on call right before the eviction of last round, so it was formed last round, but that's really trickling into this round. As soon as Chrissy was nominated, and being that she's in that 5, I wanted to make sure she felt good, with me. Being that I was also picked in Shift of Power, we hadn't had a big opportunity to, talk one-on-one, so I did get, a call in with her. I don't know, let's see specifically how long I talked with her. It was about from 2 to 2:45, so about 45 minutes to be exact, guesstimating, because, I rounded up and down. And I basically promised her if I did win the Shift of Power that I would use it on her. Now, I really wanted to, we were vibing, we had a really good energy, I really took to her, so I wanted to make her feel, super fucking good with me, and that's why I promised her that. I knew going into it I didn't really plan on winning. I would be happy if I won, I would be happy if I didn't, so I didn't need it. I didn't feel like I needed to win it. I tried, but I wasn't desperate. And I think that's the differentiation, that I think sometimes you need to be desperate to win these. Because the person who did win, Billy, with the score he got, I think he was desperate, and I think he realized that if he didn't win, he would have a very hard chance of staying. So Billy ended up winning the shift of power, which really sucked because I loved these nominations because Billy was up there. Or targets, because Billy was up there. I thought that this would have been a very easy, smooth sailing, solid evict Billy round. I did get a chance to go on call with Jen, like I previously mentioned. And I kind of because I was picked for the shift of power, I had a little bit of power with her, in that obviously if I had won it, she would want to know what I would do. I would want to know what she would want me to do. So I immediately, basically as soon as we started calling, I was like, so what's the sitch? What would you prefer to happen with the power? And she said, not used. And I said, perfect. If I win it, I'm not using it, because I don't want the nominations or the targets to change. She gave me specifics, who would be nominated, or I keep saying nominated, I'm sorry, who would be targeted, in the event that Chrissy came off and Billy. So she told me if Chrissy came off, she would most likely do Corinda, just because Corinda might be an easy person to stick up there with no blood on her hands and get Billy out. And then she said if Billy got vetoed, she'd most likely do Dre. Now, today there was a lot of scrambling, and I feel like today a lot popped off. Let's see. Oh, God. So let's see what happened today. Is this today? Yes. Sorry. What happened today? So yes, Dre was talked about for being the renom. I had heard that last night. I didn't tell Dre. Just because I kind of, if Billy got down and she was going to put Dre up, I knew Dre was going to go against Chrissy. I knew that people would choose Chrissy over Dre. So I don't want to say I disconnected from Dre, but I didn't give him information that he could have used probably 12 hours sooner. But at the same time, I think that I'm hearing stuff. I guess it's my imagination. My biggest Oh, it's raining. Okay, I just freaked the fuck out. My biggest power in this game is information and the ability to keep it to myself. And not only that, but the ability to tell it to the right people where it's not going to be repeated to somebody else. Or if it is, it may stop there and it won't go farther. I don't want my words being repeated to others without my permission or knowing. Unless I'm telling somebody to say, I said this or I said that, I don't expect to hear my words repeated. And if I do, that's a very big red flag that you can't trust that bitch. And so not to say that I didn't trust Dre, but I knew if I told him he was a possible retarget, he was going to go crazy. So I ended up calling with Merle, and I told him that, like, I didn't want Dre to go up, especially with this new 5 that we have. It would be really detrimental if we just made it last round and 2 of us are, targeted this round. So he said that he got on a call with Jen and that she was essentially going to do whoever he thought was he wanted. And so he came to me asking who I'd want, who I think would be a good person to put up there, just next to Chrissy to be voted out. And I said we could make a move. I suggested a couple different names, actually. I believe I suggested Emily, Jovina, and Timmy. But then I also suggested Corinda, Romeo. And I don't think I said Chris. I might have said Chris. So I threw out 6 names. Oops. But it's quite interesting because I remember I did specifically list Emily's name as well. And I'm just giving, I don't know what the fuck, kind of person Jen wanted up there. I don't know what person Merle was trying for me to give him. So I was just kind of like, these are some people that you may not like, and then these are some people that these people you may not like that I also don't like, or as not fond of, or haven't talked to as much, or just want out a little bit more. And then these were the people that were like less active. So it looks like Merle got to Jen and ended up swaying her renomination retarget ceremony into putting up Corinda in Billy's place. I was A-okay with it because I haven't talked to Corinda at all in this game. I don't want to, like, be a bitch, and I don't want to be a nasty person, but I didn't really like how she was acting in the chat. I felt like she felt a little entitled because she was playing 3 games and she expected people to come to her. I understand that she said that she was on her computer all day, but it is, according to my chart, I just want to show you guys right here. Let me unplug. I don't know if you can see it, but we are on day 10. Day 10. Yes. So I've been on my computer, as you can see from my chart. Let's just scroll down here a little bit. So this is where I sleep. You can see all that white space. That's where I go to bed. And you can see that I'm spending a lot of my time on calls with different people. I don't think Corinda could say the same. So I don't really like the attitude that she gave to people in the chat, because I think it's very apparent for people who are putting effort into these games and people who are not. And I can understand and see the difference between people who are busy with life and people who signed up for 2 other orgs and don't really give a shit about this one. Because I was also in 2 other orgs, and those 2 ones I got eliminated from because this has been my focus from the beginning. If somebody's saying those things about me in those other games, sure, that's great. They're kind of more valid, or at least that 3rd one. I participated in my challenge until I went out, but that 3rd one was a shit show anyway. So I don't like her attitude. I think that she might have just been saying things to try to, like, rile people to maybe get votes. I think that that's the wrong way to go. I can tell when somebody's putting effort into these games because I put a lot of effort into these games. I'm very passionate about them. So I don't like the way that she acted, and I thought it was a little bit gross. She's been voted out 11-2, so bye. Let's see what else. So the only other big important thing that I can really think of right now, 2 things. Last night I was on a call with Corey, and I did mention that Merle had told me about, like, possible powers, and he, like, I don't know how we got onto this subject, but I was talking about powers, and Corey told me he had 2 steal votes, basically, or, excuse me, a power to steal 2 votes. So I think that that's amazing. I'm so glad that he told me, and, like, it makes me know that I can trust him. I don't want other people to know about this because I do believe that he would use it, maybe not necessarily to benefit me, but if not to benefit himself, which could benefit me in the long run. The only other person that knows is Merle. Corey says that Merle's under the impression that Corey would use it on him if it came to that point in time. And I say to Corey, just keep letting Merle think that, because I honestly wish Merle didn't know, and I think Corey feels the same way now too. But the only way that we can make him keep quiet about it is if he's under the firm belief that it will be used upon him at a moment's notice if needed. The other thing, because I specifically mentioned Emily's name, I cut myself off from talking about this. It was funny because I went on call with Emily a little bit later, and she goes, I heard Merle threw my name out there. And I'm like, to Jen, and I'm like, who'd you hear that from? Did she say that Jen told her? I think so. She said that she wasn't going to let Merle know that she knew, so I think Jen did tell her. And the fact that Emily's not going to Merle to tell her that, that's where my manipulation and my strategies and my talks are. It just makes me so excited because it's working. Now, maybe Emily does know, like, that it originated from me. But based on the interaction, based on what she told me, obviously, so she could be lying, but also based on the vibe and my gut feeling, I misted her. I said, oh my God, really? someone said your name, but I do like Emily. I was just kind of throwing it out as a possible person that I knew Merle already wasn't fondest of. I'm not going to say people I want out because that's going to show my cards. I can't tell Merle to choose himself. Just kidding. I can't have Merle go yet. Oh God, that brings me to something else. Okay, so there seems to be this really big... There's this really, like... We got two superpowers going on right now. We got Timmy over here, we got Merle over here, and they are both talking shit about each other. And honestly, I just want to keep them both in. Because as soon as one of them gains power, they're going to go... and look at each other, and then one of them's gonna knock each other out. I would love to see Timmy knock Merle out eventually, because I do think that I have a better shot with the Timmy Ray group than Merle Chrissy. But I'm very adaptable, and you know, I'm glad that I got my way tonight. I feel like tonight was actually the first eviction that I've successfully gotten my way and 100% been, yes, I want that person to go. Because I did not want Caitlin to go the first round, but it wasn't, like, huge. I did not want Louise to go at all. It was a little huge, but I had to play the game. I had to follow the cards. I had to follow the house, feel the flow. Again, I don't like people at the eviction saying, when are we going to start making moves? When are we going to start making waves? I'm going to be in this game for a lot longer than 10 days, Corinda. So I can't afford to make moves right now, because those moves are going to make sure I go within the next 10 days. And I would like to be here till the end, until the final two. Now, just because other players don't see me making moves doesn't mean I'm not making moves. I'm a firm believer in little moves equaling big moves. I'm all about the little moves. The right person to trust. The right person to tell information to. The right information to retain. Maybe it's like also just very in hand with the social game, but the social game is my game, and that's what I flourish in. Ray and Timmy did tell me that they've never heard my name negatively today, and I was actually thinking about that. I asked Zach if he had ever heard my name negatively, and it's honestly, like, I feel so clean in the game that I'm starting to get a little bit nervous that I'm too clean, and I don't want to be too perfect. So, at the same time, I don't actively cause drama. I don't go out of my way to make somebody mad. I'm very much like, okay, you're upset. Let me see what I can do to fix this. Let me apologize, even if I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I'm a very people pleaser and an appeaser, and so it's hard not to be perfect, but not to say that I am. I just have such a passion, and like I am. You know, somebody told me I was like genuine with them, and that's my superpower. That is my game. I will make these. Here's the motherfucking tea. I will make these players believe that I am genuine. I am genuine. This is who I am. Not only in these games, but in everyday life. I am a very genuine person. But I can lie and make it sound just like my genuinity. And as soon as I start lying, as soon as I have to start lying, like immensely, as soon as I really need to start making those little lie moves, people aren't going to see what's coming. People are not going to believe that I would lie to them at that point in time. And so that's why it's so important to be loyal and genuine now. So when it comes near the end of the game, I have that reputation, but obviously my actions are not speaking so. I think that my perception is very positive right now, but when I guess identify myself as a character in a game, I definitely consider myself a villain. I think villains have more fun. I think villains like have a lot more complexity to them. And to me, I do align as a villain because not because I want to backstab, not because I want to like fuck people over, or, you know, like I do want to make moves and I do want to pull off blindsides, but I don't want it to be at the detriment of a person's feelings, or how, you know, I don't want to upset anybody. I just will do whatever I believe it's going to take to further me, to benefit me, and or somebody else that might benefit me. I'm a very selfish player, and I will pretend not to be, but I will also tell people that I have to consider my game, that I have to weigh the pros and cons. I'm a very pros and cons kind of player. I think that I look at these games through a very fine lens that I don't see a lot of people also playing through. But again, I'm not seeing games as clearly as I'm seeing my own, because I'm not them and I'm not playing, like, you know what I mean? So it really is all perception. My perception so far is that for the first 3 rounds, I feel like I've played an all-star game. I really don't come into these games early and start connecting with people as quickly. Now, I did very much start out slow and steady, and I think that also the pace of the game and the level, the caliber of the players, I think that I had the time as well to really put into these people, and I think it's really coming to light in a positive way. I think I'm building bonds, honestly, that are going to go outside of this game. I don't really feel that way about past games. Like, yes, I've made bonds, I've made friends, I've made connections that have lasted, for sure. I feel like this game is different, and maybe because it is during COVID-19, maybe it is because I have a lot more free time, being that I'm not back at work yet. I feel like, especially with the end events of this round, I was very emotional. I was very emotional when Dre came to me and told me what he was going to talk about, because I don't want people to be upset, and I don't want anybody to hurt based on something that they can't control. And I think that it's really... I was really appreciative of Dre. I think what Dre did was really powerful. I had a respect for Dre before because of his positive energy and what he brought to me. I feel like that respect it's infinitized. There's no words like I can even describe with how important. I'm just so impressed, and I think that I've made a friend for life in Dre. I'm proud of him. I'm really, really proud of him, and I'm very much looking forward to the rest of the game with him, and I love him. That was great. And I don't want to get emotional now because I've been crying about it a little bit, but I think it was a very real moment that I don't think that I've had in these games before, and I will never forget this, but not, and I said this to somebody else, I won't forget it for the negative reasons. I will not forget it for how much it speaks to me. Okay, 23 minutes later, I think that's enough. Thanks.